You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, everybody, this is James Morris. Welcome back to our second half of our Thursday morning show. We just got finished talking to Rob Lapham about what we talked about government, how government seems to get bigger and bigger, and that's another show we talk about. But what I want to talk about right here is a lot of people are wanting to put LED light bulbs in their vehicle. And they make LED light bulbs that go right in where the 1157
You
goes.
talk about for headlights?
Well, not just,
or just brake lights?
Brake lights, tail lights, tag lights, they're much brighter. I saw a vehicle yesterday that the tag light, normally you can't hardly see a tag light. It's very dull. Well, they put LED lights in there, like shining out at you, and I went, that's pretty neat. And then I noticed that the brake lights on here were pretty bright too. I said, man, they're LED, and this was an older model car. But the biggest problem I know about people who put in have older model vehicles, I'm talking about a vehicle that didn't come with LED headlights. They stick them in, and then turn signals don't work. They just click, and they don't blink. And they go, well, heck, when I put the regular bulbs in there, they blink. But when I put the LED bulbs in there, they don't blink. Why is that? Well, the reason is you don't have enough resistance in there to make the element get hot, open, and close, open, and close. That's what it is. There's an element that actually that gets hot and actually opens. It's a bimetal strip that makes that click, click, click on older model cars. Newer model cars don't have that. They use a computer that actually puts the sound out and breaks the circuit and everything. But on older model cars that have a flasher inside them, they use a bimetal spring that gets hot and cold. There's two pieces of metal wrapped with wire. As you put current through it, it gets hot, it clicks, and then once it makes this contact, it breaks the circuit again, then it cools down. And it repeats the process over and over again very rapidly. But the problem with people that have put in LED light bulbs for their brake lights, and then their cruise control won't work. What? My cruise control won't work now? My turn signals don't work now? Why is it? The lights themselves will work, when I hit the brake lights and everything, but now my cruise control won't work on my General Motors product, and that's because you don't have enough resistance in the light bulb. It thinks it's got a burnout light bulb in there because it doesn't have enough resistance. It says, okay, my bulb is burnt out in here. Something gone to ground. I can't work, and that's the ground path for the cruise control in older model Chevrolets is a high-mounted brake light bulb in there. And I've had people put in these bulbs in there and go, oh man, they're so much brighter and they don't get as hot and they're so much nicer. And when they try their cruise control a day or two later, it doesn't work. They pull their hair out trying to figure out what's wrong with it. They take it to a shop. They change the servo. They change this. They change that. They check the fuses. They do all that. And I go, if you looked at a schematic, you can see how that ground circuit goes right through that light bulb. And that's how it tells you when your high-mounted light bulb is out, is when your cruise control won't work. But all you have to do to make this work is take your digital voltometer, measure your light bulb, your old light bulb in there, go from one point to the other point, and see how much resistance you have. That's all you got to do. Just if you've got one bulb in that circuit that's on that side, or if say you've got two bulbs, say you got, let's just go for the brake light. Let's just go for the brake light, one bulb circuit. We're only using the brake light for the high-mounted brake light. Our cruise control doesn't work because it doesn't see enough resistance in there. So what we do is we take our old light bulb, and we sit there and we touch it on the filament and we see how much resistance we got going through that light bulb, through that winding on that element, out the other side. How much resistance we got. Once we measure that resistance, we go put a resistor in line. We go one to the positive side, we take one side of the resistor and attach it to it. And then we take the other side and we attach it to the other side on the negative side. So the current wants to go through that resistor to get to it, and it's enough resistance in there to allow the computer or whatever's working inside there, or have enough resistance in there to allow things to work like they're supposed to. So the flasher will flash, or the turn signal would do like it's supposed to do. I just got finished saying that. Or the brake light, it shows that you've got enough resistance, showing that it's got a ground circuit. That's what it wants to see. It's got to see these things. And I have a lot of people over the years that come in here and said, James, I put those new fixtures, those new bulbs in my tail and my turn signals, and I can't get my blinkers to work. I've changed the flashers, I've changed the multifunction switch. I spent $400 or $500 in doing it. And I said, well, have you put the old bulbs back in it? And they go, no. I said, well, put the old bulbs back in it and see what happens. Put the old bulbs back in it. Of course, it works like it's supposed to. And I said, this is all you have to do. How many bulbs are on that on your turn signal left side? He said, well, I got 2 on the back and 1 on the front. Go measure how much each bulb has. That's right. Measure how much each bulb puts out there. And wherever you put that bulb in, an LED bulb in right before it, you put in a LED resistor. Excuse me, you put in just a resistor that you measured that bulb has. So when you put the bulb in, go that positive and negative wire and put in between from the positive and negative a resistor. That's all you have to do. And you do it to each bulb. And if you do that little trick right there, you'll have blinkers that work like they're supposed to. You'll also have much, much brighter tail lights, much, much brighter brake lights, much, much brighter, period. The reason they went to LED is, one, they pull a lot less power, and power requires from your engine, it means you got to make power up, so you get better fuel mileage by having less energy to light up your headlights. It's also less wear and tear on your electrical system. It really is. Because remember, only thing that car is powering up is gases inside the bulb. You know, the LED light bulb, there's no filament in it. It's just putting power in there, and it's actually exciting the little gas inside there to make it whatever color it is. They look clear when you're looking at them, but depending on the gas that's inside there, you can make it any color, whether it's white, whether it's yellow, whether it's red. You know, they can make it just about any color they want just from the gas they put inside that. And that is the LED bulb. You're not exciting any resistor in there. It's just a gas, kind of like a neon bulb. And that is why your headlights don't work. It doesn't see enough resistance. And as far as this is concerned, there's a burnout bulb in there. So put the resistors in there, and you'll have you'll have turn signals and brake lights working like they're supposed to. And that's the most important thing. People can get them they can get the tail lights to work, and they can get the tag lights to work, but they cannot seem to get the turn signals to work, and that's because you have to add resistance to it. And how I learned that was from my father-in-law, who used to teach electronics, and when he was in the was it the Marine Corps he taught, or the Air Force? I think the Marine Corps he taught electronics. And he was telling me that it really doesn't take a lot of voltage to light up a LED. I said, really? He said, no, it only takes a couple volts to light it up. And I said, well, what do we need to do to keep where everything will work? And he says, what you're going to have to do is put a resistor in line. And at first I thought he was talking about just putting it, positive to negative, right in line. No, you put it from the positive to the negative, just like you're pretending that resistor is a light bulb. That's how you do it. You pretend that resistor is a light bulb. Say, okay, I'm going to put in, I measured that resistor across there, and it's 3 ohms. So I put it's not that high, but the point is, you find a resistor and you put one side on the positive side and one side on the negative with your resistor in between, and that gives you the resistance to the circuit, and that's all it has to see. And now your turn signals work exactly like they're supposed to, and you've got a much brighter lights. And you actually, if you changed all your bulbs in the vehicle, you'd have much brighter lights, and you wouldn't have that much of a load on your alternator. I'm serious. It's that big. It really makes it. What do you think Priuses and all the electric cars, everything out there is going LED?
Yeah, because the halogens, that was a phase for a while, but they get so hot.
Well,
so LEDs are a much better option.
Well, now they got LEDs now for headlights now. That's the most amazing thing. But boy, they're expensive, and sometimes they can kind of blind you. You got to be really. They really have to be. Normally, the LED headlights have little motors on them that bring them down automatically when headlights come on them from approaching. Like you got a car coming like that.
Motion sensors.
Well, they're a
redirect the headlight.
What they do
alignment.
is, when they see a headlight coming at the car, they say, oh, I got headlights coming. They actually dim the whole not dim it. They tilt the headlight down slightly, like about 3 degrees. And that's how it works. And all of a sudden, click, after the headlight goes by, after the car goes by, then the headlights return to normal. A Volkswagen Touareg, that does that. A lot of Audis do it. A lot of the newer model cars are doing it that have LED headlights in it. When they had HID, high intensity discharge headlights, they did that too, but they found out on HID, boy, are they expensive to replace when they go bad. Not even some of the bulbs on HID, like on a Prius, are $200 a piece. I got people out there going, I ain't gonna pay $200 for a bulb. Well, you go out there and get you one that doesn't cost that. Well, I can go get one from XYZ parts store and put it in there. How much is it? $100? Well, great. Maybe it'll last. But most of the ones I stick in there, if they're not Toyota, don't last half as long. But that's another story. But I'm just trying to say you get what you pay for out there. So make sure when you change headlights or when you change taillights, make sure you're putting the right ones in there. And if you're not putting the ones that the car it costs for the car, that may be the reason turn signals don't work. If you're trying to put LED lights in there. Also, like on taillights, you got like 2057 or 3057 tail lights. They both are double filament. They do make a difference on the computer on some of the cars. I've seen people put them in there and they have a light that comes on and says, hey, you've got a light bulb still out, and you go back there and check them, all your bulbs work. It just doesn't have enough resistance in that light bulb to put that light bulb on your dash out, because as far as it's concerned, that bulb's out. I think, Anna Marie, your Crossfire was the same way. We had a little bulb for a tag light bulb. We just stuck one in it thinking that would work. It worked. The light came on, but it's kept that little light on our dash saying, hey, you've got a bulb out. We checked it out, went in and got the correct bulb for this vehicle. The light went out. So if you're having those little problems, that may be a way to help correct that for you.
Yeah, just another example of just because it fits, that doesn't mean it's the right part.
Ain't that the truth? We were talking about that yesterday on wheel bearings.
I was talking about that yesterday with somebody about spark plugs.
Yep.
I bought some spark plugs at, like you say, XYZ parts store, and what will you charge me to put them in? It's like, well, why do you think that you need spark plugs? Here we go again. Well, I just know a car was misfiring. I just know that.
We had a car.
I just know that.
We had a car come in yesterday. Had brand new spark plugs in the vehicle. I looked at them. They weren't even gapped right. They were gapped wrong. And I looked at it. I said, well, they got these spark plugs in it, and they're even gapped wrong. You're not even supposed to change the gap on platinum plugs. He put those in thinking that's why the car intermittently would not start up when the car had set for a while. The reason the car wouldn't start up after it set for a while was the fuel pump has a bad spot on it. When the car shut off on that bad spot, you went to crank it, the fuel pump wouldn't start back up again. So that's what was wrong with his car. So he didn't need spark plugs. He did not need the $300 or $400 worth of work he's already put in the car. He needs a fuel pump. So that's why it's very, very important that before you start changing parts, pay someone that knows what they're doing to look the car over and make a decision for it. Most people out there haven't the foggiest idea how electronics work on a car. They haven't the foggiest idea how all this works together. They just know the car either starts or it doesn't start. Either it runs or it doesn't run. Either it stops or it doesn't stop. If you've got a car question, you want to be a part of the show, call every morning from 6 to 6:30 right on here on WPGX Fox 28. We answer your car questions. We record it, play it back the following week, and we'd be more than happy to help you every morning between 6 and 6:30 a.m. right here on Fox 28. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow morning. Bye-bye, everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 beep.